Welcome in. It's good to be back in the late afternoon window. It is 4:16 Eastern. I am 14 minutes early to this scheduled live stream. It's the 22nd of October. Thank you for your patience this week. Got my mom visiting and a number of other things on my plate this week coming back from the bye. Had a fantastic time in Banff. Traveled all throughout the Canadian Rockies and feeling very recharged. Not sure the team is in terms of what it has in front of them. Terms of really a very, very significant hole that they're going to try and dig themselves out of over the course of the next couple months. They sit at 1-5. The Chicago Bears come to town this weekend for a Week 8 matchup at the bank, 1 o'clock. We'll have pregame and postgame coverage as usual. Here's what I've got for you today. John Harbaugh ripped and refuted the locker room purge report, if you will, put forth by the Baltimore Sun earlier this week that claims and reports based on the 25 different sources that it spoke with for various reasons and different aspects that there were toys, video games, pinball machines, you name it, taken out from the locker room. And the players say that, the writers, the journalists of the Baltimore Sun say that it was, well, we'll get into all that more coming up in just a bit, and how John Harbaugh responded to their findings and their overall reports. After that, some Lamar Jackson tape from practice. He's just jogging. Like, spoiler alert, who knows if he's going to go. But the fact that he did return today suggests that he's at least going to give it a shot of returning for the first time since he exited the second half of that Kansas City Chiefs game 3 weeks ago. We know he's been operating on that 2 to 4 week timetable with a hamstring. All that and more, including updates on Emory Jones, practice notes from today from an attendance perspective, and more. Thank you guys for being with me. If you could on the way in, like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell, consider becoming a channel member or a gift-giving membership. I'll get to as many super chats as possible as they come in. Here is John Harbaugh earlier talking directly about that report from the Baltimore Sun earlier this week.
There was this report out that the coaches had all these games and extracurriculars removed from the locker room. Can you put in any clarification? Was that the players or the coaches?
I would say that the report was inaccurate and false. The stuff was taken out of the locker room. I was informed of it after it was gone by the equipment guy, and that the players, the veteran players, a couple of veteran players got together and decided they wanted to take that stuff out. So my pinball machine that I had gifted the guys 2 years ago at Christmas, I don't know where it's at right now. So I don't know where it's at. It's in the storage room somewhere, I guess. I'll take it home. I'll take it back home. I like pinball.
Can we find it? Can we?
Yeah. You want it in the media room? Maybe it's in the media room right now. It's not. Okay, you would notice. Okay. That's why you're really asking. I see that.
All right. Weathering the storm a little bit, all fun and games there at the end. But you heard John Harbaugh. Quote, the report was inaccurate and false. The stuff was taken out of the locker room. I was informed of it after it was gone by the equipment guy, and that it was the veteran players who decided they wanted to take that stuff out. That matches up perfectly with what co-host of mine, Jeff Zaribek, said last night on The Collective.
Clarify something, guys. I mean, everywhere I turn, I hear about video games being yanked from the locker room and pinball machines getting tossed into the harbor and ping pong tables being broken in a million pieces. First of all, that didn't just happen. That was weeks ago where they got some of that stuff out. And the second point is, it was not coach's decision. It was not John Harbaugh. It was a group of veterans that said, let's hone in here, guys. It's just when you lose, stuff like that gets overblown, exaggerated. It does not matter. Play a good football game. And so I get the attention. I get people are frustrated. I get people are looking for reasons about players being distracted or all that. And no, it was just a couple veterans thought, let's get back to the basics here. Let's get serious. Let's send a message that this is all business and we need to hone in. And that's how that stuff kind of got removed from the locker room. So it was not some big organizational decision or big bad John Harbaugh coming down on his players, his mighty men wanting to send them a message. No, it really wasn't about that, nor is it really that significant to whether they play well Sunday or not. Play a good game, win a football game, and people will stop hanging on nonsense that doesn't have a lot to do with whether you win a football game or not.
Front office sports, PTI, Fox.
I just saw the PTI clip go up. Like, my God, did that ever? The amount of focus on a pinball machine that I heard. So one of the
that Harbaugh bought for the locker room.
One of the players reached out to me with it and said, "This got removed 3 weeks ago. Like, what's going on here? Like, I don't get it. Like."
Well,
anyway, I just
again, when you lose and you're the biggest disappointment in the NFL, this stuff gets legs, and it's not. It's an interesting aspect of it, and the Sun's not to blame. I mean, they reported it accurate. Well, I don't know if they reported who removed them. I've forgotten that part of the story, but I don't know if they said it was the coaches. It was the players. A couple of the veteran players thought it would be a good idea to. But again, like, I'm not saying they made a big deal out of it. It's just funny what kind of people run with. And but that's what happens when you lose. And you'll keep hearing more and more of these stories. You'll keep getting guys grumbling quietly because their paydays getting ruined by this, or they're not getting the ball they want. That's what happens on losing teams everywhere. It doesn't necessarily have some grand meaning. It's because they are 1-5. Everyone's trying to figure out why they've played so poorly and why has things gone so badly in Baltimore. And that's what you kind of get. This is one of the ramifications of it.
All right, I'm not going to milk this too much more because I know a lot of you, based on the live chat earlier this afternoon and right now, quite frankly, are sick and tired of this overblown story that has very, very little, if anything at all, to do with what the Ravens have in front of them, which is the Chicago Bears in a must-win game in Baltimore at the bank coming up on Sunday at 1 o'clock. But the final thing I'll say is, look, as a journalist, your job is to vet what you hear. And to me, as I look more and more into this and hear more and more about it, I kind of get the sense that the Baltimore Sun, sure, 25 different people in or around the organization is a hefty sample size, but this didn't necessarily pack the punch that perhaps they thought it did. And I felt like it could have been a lot more thoroughly executed. So, again, John Harbaugh made it clear. He clapped back in a big way, referred to it as false and inaccurate. And that's that. It was a player-led decision. Ultimately, the coaches had no say, no knowledge until all these games, pinball machines, you name it, extracurriculars were removed from the locker room, and that is that. I mean, is there really anything else that needs to be said? There's much bigger fish that needs to be fried if the Ravens want to keep this season alive between now and Sunday against the team that, sure, we can talk about the degree of difficulty for their schedule over the last 4 weeks all we want. They are winners of 4 in a row. Caleb Williams is developing. Ben Johnson, they've ripped off, again, 4 in a row after losing their first 2. They've got a lot of talented pass-catching star talents around Caleb. They got a solid defense, and the Ravens have as many holes and as many question marks. I don't care if they're healthy or not, or fully healthy or not. They're going to take a step closer. The injury report just came out a minute ago, so I'll be able to share that with you in just a second. I don't care if they're fully healthy or not. This team had lingering issues pre-Lamar going down, and we'll see if it has lingering issues post-Lamar going down. And he did return to practice today. Here's what John Harbaugh had to say about his availability moving forward.
Oh, who, what, we'll just have to see how that plays out. You just don't know. But we're preparing with the guys who are practicing, and then we'll see how we get through the week. And we'll get to the game, and we'll play with the guys who can play, just like we have been doing. But we're looking forward to it, and we just want to play our best football. We want to execute. We want to be physical. We want to be sharp. We want to be good. We're playing a very good team, and we're looking forward to that. And it's an important game for us.
Thanks to AJ Gersh there for the clip. Again, if you missed it earlier this afternoon when we were live in hour number 2 on The Vault with Femi, Lamar Jackson as Jeff noted here, jogged on to practice and the field itself about 20 minutes after it began. It marked his first practice appearance since straining his hamstring on September 28th. And as Jeff notes, he mostly just did warm-up throws while the media was out there, and he did run around a little bit. Morgan Atzett of Fox 45 caught some of that. And here he is dapping up his offensive coordinator, Todd Monken. Todd has missed him dearly, I would imagine. There's Snoop right there and Cooper Rush, his backups. Who will be the primary backup on Sunday should Lamar not go? No clue. Probably should be Snoop. I think we all know that after what Cooper's been putting on tape so far through the first couple weeks since he's gotten the opportunity. And there he is with some pep in his step. I mean, he's lightly jogging. How can I sit here and evaluate his mobility, evaluate the dexterity, evaluate the potential limitations that are involved with the hamstring? I mean, I can't sit here and do that. We'd be grasping at straws if we did that. But there he is. That was practice footage earlier this afternoon. This does put Lamar perhaps in the driver's seat, or it's an encouraging first sign that he will be able to give it a go in a must-have moment coming up on Sunday. They got to start ripping off wins. The season is hanging on by a thread, and number 8 is back in play. So that's that. And you heard from John Harbaugh. Of course, he's not going to get into the nitty-gritty details about where things are at. He's going to keep it tight-lipped, as you'd expect. Quote, "You just don't know, but we're preparing with the guys who are practicing, and then we'll see how we get through the week." Let's just see how the first injury report popped up, shall we? Because this just was released at the start of the show just a couple minutes ago, so I will react to it at the same time that you guys are learning about it. And here you have it. I'll pull it up big screen on my side so I can see what it is that I'm looking at. And Cheeto Awuzie, who's missed some time in recent weeks, he popped up with a hamstring, which he's been dealing with again for multiple weeks. He was a full participant. Great news for the Ravens. CB3. By the way, Marlon Humphrey with an illness was a DNP today. I know a lot of you probably are speculating what that might have meant for his glizzy consumption, but I guess that's neither here nor there. So Cheeto Awuzie trending towards playing. Great news for the secondary. Zay Flowers popped up with a shoulder, but he was a full participant. Kyle Hamilton's been nursing that groin. He did return for the Rams game. They took a step in the right direction defensively prior to the bye. He was limited today. Lamar, limited with a hamstring. Pat Ricard, great news. He's a full participant with that calf that has lingered and lingered and lingered. He has not yet played this season, perhaps trending towards making his 2025 debut this weekend. Roquan Smith was also a full participant with a hamstring. Ronnie Stanley, a full participant with that ankle that's been certainly limiting him, not only in practice, but in game in recent weeks. And then Devontae Walker with that oblique. He was a full participant today. So again, a lot of signs for encouragement, I would say, led by Lamar, headlined by Lamar. The fact that Roquan looks like he's going to be able to go is a great sign for the defense that needs his communication, needs his savvy, needs his experience. He himself in his media scrum earlier this week said that he will play. This is his former team. You already know this is going to be an emotional game for Roquan. He'll be wearing the green dot communication device. I expect that to be, from an alignment standpoint, communication perspective, all that and more, all 3 levels will benefit from Roquan being out there. But then again, he has struggled outside of the Browns game where he was named AFC Defensive Player of the Week. Some of that has been due to his running mate, I would think. A lot of that maybe has to do with some of the underneath pass coverage issues, some of the lack of gelling that we've seen from this defense through, I'll call it the first 5 games, because I thought that you could probably make the argument outside of the Cleveland game. And again, that offense is not scaring anybody. And it was before they turned to the more mobile Dylan Gabriel. I thought that this past weekend, or 2 weekends ago now, was the best Ravens defensive performance that I've seen so far this season against the Rams. That's a high-powered offense. I get it. Puka Nacua went down in game. I don't believe he played in London this past weekend, but they still hung 30-plus on Jacksonville. So it's encouraging, but there's still a lot of glaring issues. To me, none bigger than the offensive line. Guys, this is a group. I have the numbers in front of me. Wait till you hear this. This is why I can't get behind a lot of the optimism. And there are reasons for optimism. I just can't buy into said reasons yet. They rank 24th as a group, okay, on PFF rankings, the offensive line. They've allowed 70 pressures, including 9 sacks on 193 pass plays this season. And I know Rave Kingdom and all of you out there that are pushing for some kind of change, specifically and maybe at the very least at right guard, benching Fa'alele for Ben Cleveland. But who is to say that Ben will move the needle? Could it get worse? Probably not. And Ben, in a pinch in the past, has chipped in serviceably from a fill-in replacement standpoint. But I'm of the belief that what we've seen from this offensive line is who they are. It's who they are under George Warhop. It's who they are through a 6-game sample size so far this season. And that's an issue. And I don't even think the great Lamar Jackson, who I'm guessing will not be anywhere near 100%, but hopefully well enough and healthy enough to play, not even the great Lamar Jackson can minimize the underperformance and the weakness that's been shown consistently, whether it's in pass protection, whether it's getting push up front for the run game, whether it's pre-snap penalties and overall discipline. I don't even know if Lamar can wipe away some of those glaring issues. I hope I'm wrong. They have a slew of deficiencies across the board from an offensive line standpoint. Yes, Pat Ricard being that 6th offensive lineman, that chip blocker, that extra presence for the run game. Yes, that will help. But again, can one guy change this thing around? That remains to be seen. It's not something that I'm leaning into at this point in the process. Would love to take a call or two if you guys have any thoughts on that and everything else that we're discussing. Appreciate you guys for being with me. If you could like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell, consider becoming a channel member or gift-giving membership. Over 500 of you already in the channel, already in this stream right now across all platforms. I have a pinned comment right now in the live chat where you can access the guest line should you be interested in doing so. But first, let me tell you about Preston Automotive Group, because they've been powering this channel and my entire company and what we do now for multiple years. And I've got a lot of gratitude to continue driving around in my Bobby Baltimore Bronco. If you scan the QR code in the upper right-hand corner, it'll take you to the landing page that you see up on the screen right now. Well, you'll be reminded of a couple different offers that are available to my subscribers, like a $500 cash coupon that'll go directly towards a new or pre-owned vehicle if you mention my name at any dealership in or around the Baltimore area. The second incentive that they have available to you is if you buy 4 tires and you'll receive 50% off your alignment. You can easily contact them by filling out this form right here. I'm sure all of us like to sift through the available inventory. It's almost like Zillow. Throw in your preference, whether that be price, vehicle condition, year, make, location, all the categories that'll allow you to break this search down to the nitty-gritty. It's kind of like Zillow, right? Over 3,500 available vehicles right now across their inventory. And I tell you what, if you are in the Baltimore area, I would love for you to consider checking out any of the Preston dealerships for what I think is one of their best features. It's the Ford Mobile Service Program. All right, they come to you, whether you're at home, work, or anywhere in between. You do not have to visit the dealership. There's no hassle attached to it. It's top-notch service where you need it. So again, the Ford Mobile Service, when I was in the area and when I go back to the area, I always use this. Oil changes, tire rotations, battery replacements, you name it, they handle it. You skip the trip and you let the Ford Mobile Service team take care of the rest. So you can book your appointment today by visiting PrestonMotor.com. All that information can be found in the show notes. I appreciate Preston Automotive Group for the continued support. And thanks to you guys for being with me today. More from today's press conference, which included Kyle Hamilton and Tyler Linderbaum at the podium. Here is Kyle Hamilton himself talking about a number of things, including whether or not John Harbaugh's messaging still resonates.
I think at this point in the season, it's not like you're about to it's going to be anarchy around here or anything like that. Like, this is the time where you got to stick together. And we always talk about through the highs and lows, and haven't had too many lows besides just like the playoffs and stuff like that. We've had obviously some games not go our way, but like we've had great seasons since I've been here, and haven't had a season like this. So now is really testing ourselves when we talk about through the highs and lows. We're brothers and all this stuff, and that goes to the coaching staff too. And we need, as a group, staff, players, whoever's involved, need to get this thing turned around, because it is unexcusable and inexcusable rather. And sorry, I'm kind of weird about grammar like that, but no, but everybody can say what they want about our schedule being tough or this and that or whatever, but like at a certain point we're gonna have to beat these teams anyway in the playoffs or whatever it may be. So I don't really like that excuse. I think we should go out and win every game that we play, and for it to be a scheduling thing or schedule quote unquote lines up in the later half of the season, I don't really like that perspective at all, because everybody in this league is good, and we've lost games to teams we weren't supposed to lose games to, quote unquote. So it's up to us every week to be pros about it and understand that, look, we're 1-5. People are coming here thinking we're slim picking right now and just a free win. So we're going to get everybody's best shot, and it's up to us to kill that narrative and get it turned around.
First of all, waiting room starting to fill up. What I want to know from you guys, if you call in, just for those of you that are waiting, you can start to think about what your answers are going to be to this. I want to know this. We had a big debate today. I'm going to respond to Kyle's thoughts here in just a second. We had a big debate today inside the vault in the 1 o'clock hour. Femi Ayam-Madejo, friend of the show, former Raven, won a Super Bowl in 2000. Awesome dude. He gave me pushback in terms of some of the I don't know if you want to call it pessimism. I'll call it realism. I think I've just been real about the current state of this organization. He and Sarah are leaning on some optimism, and they have valid points. I just can't get behind said valid points because of what I've seen both pre and post injury. And what I mean by injury, I'm not just talking about Lamar, because we obviously don't know what Lamar consists of post-injury yet. What I want to know from you guys calling in, if you feel like Sarah and Femi do, what are you leaning on that gives you that confidence that this season is not lost? Because I'm genuinely curious, and I'm going to be open eyes and ears. So if you want to call in, that's the question that I'm posing to you. What are you leaning on from an optimistic standpoint that gives you confidence that this season is not lost entering week 8, sitting at 1-5? Rave, we're coming to you in just a second. But first, I felt like Kyle Hamilton and Tyler Linderbaum were brought in today. Remember, no quarterback, which is typically made available, that position, on Wednesdays. Perhaps because Lamar was limited with his hamstring. They didn't throw him out there at the podium or in the press conference setting. But I felt like Tyler Linderbaum and Kyle Hamilton, as media good guys that they are, were kind of thrown out there for damage control purposes. Hey, express a sense of calm, express professionalism, togetherness. And while I appreciate that, it doesn't mean that that type of calmness will transition to execution and winning 5 days from now. Does that make sense? And so while I admire the way that both Kyle and Tyler not only held themselves and this team accountable, stood by their head coach, stood by their peers, right? Even in Kyle's case, he took it a step further. He called it inexcusable. Quote, it's not going to be anarchy around here. This is the time that you got to stick together. Now is really testing ourselves. It is inexcusable. Everybody can say what they want about our schedule being tough. I don't really like that excuse. We're 1-5. People are coming in here thinking we're slim pickings right now and a free win. So we're going to get everybody's best shot. You're damn right. They're viewed as slim pickings right now. They're viewed as the get right game. And whether or not that continues to be the case remains to be seen. But right now, which is why I couldn't get on board with one of the 5 reasons for optimism that Sarah eloquently presented yesterday, one of the reasons is because I don't feel like strength of schedule has anything to do from an advantageous standpoint with why you should be optimistic about the Ravens right now. Strength of schedule, to me, is out the window at this point because this team has far greater issues. And those on-paper victories or those circled victories in prediction style, they don't exist right now. Not until the Ravens show me in all 3 phases they can get back to playing complementary football, right? Turnover-prone football, turnover-free football, togetherness, which you have not seen consistently on game day, protecting your quarterback, protecting the football, obviously, that goes in the turnover category or turnover-free football, disciplined football, and maybe the most important of them all, physical football. And that might be the biggest gripe that I have from an evaluation and feedback standpoint. What's been most jarring, most uncharacteristic has been the lack of physicality. And that right there, I don't know if that is going to be able to be overcome by the guys that have a chance to turn this thing around once and for all, and at least take a step towards doing so against the Chicago Bears coming up on Sunday. Rave, you still there? If you are, you're up first. Turn that camera on, baby. If you guys have a thought on this, there's a guest line access pinned comment right now. Would love to take a few thoughts. And Rave just left the building. Here's Tyler Linderbaum on John Harbaugh and whether or not his message still resonates.
No, he's one of the best coaches in the league for a reason. He's been doing it for a long time, and at the end of the day, it's our responsibility as players to go out there and play as hard as we can, no matter what the situation is.
All right. Expressing a sense of calm. Expressing togetherness. That's what Kyle Hamilton and Tyler Linderbaum did today at the presser. Whether or not that translates, again, time will tell. As for Tavius Robinson, he's been placed on injured reserve. He was one of 2 missing in action players during practice day. The other was Marlon Humphrey, who I told you has an illness. Rookie Emory Jones, offensive lineman. Was he a second or third rounder? Third rounder, I believe, in April out of LSU. He has been moved from the NFI list, the non-football injury list, to the 53-man roster. Okay. So, on top of that, Harbaugh says that Emory, despite that move, has not yet been medically cleared to return. He had off-season shoulder surgery. I believe it was labrum related. Not long after the combine, he has reached the end of his 21-day window, so they had to activate him. They had to bring him to the roster. But again, he has not yet been medically cleared. So if you are one of those out there, that's clamoring or holding out hope that Emory Jones is going to save the season, a guy that's never played guard at the NFL level before and was drafted out of LSU as a tackle, oh man, I would urge you to pump the brakes. Just like I hope you pump the brakes on hoping the same for Ben Cleveland. Because I don't think either one of those guys, the same way, by the way, a deadline acquisition. That same goes for a deadline acquisition. This is not one guy. One guy is not capable of fixing the Ravens' deficiencies right now. If they can go get a guy, if they rip off 2 straight wins between now and next Thursday, 8 days from now when the Ravens play on a short week in Miami against the Dolphins on Thursday Night Football, then I'm listening. Because going to get a guy, sustaining the health that you look to be getting back this week in Cheeto and Roquan, potentially Lamar, Pat Ricard. Now I'm a little bit more receptive. But I'm going to have a hard time sitting here confidently telling you that just based on health improvement, some of whom were struggling prior to going down, like Roquan, I have a hard time sitting here and telling you that that should be the be-all, end-all for why you think and you have an unwavering confidence that this thing's going to get turned around starting on Sunday. I'm not there yet. I can't bring myself to go there yet. Remember, now the guest lines are packed again. Remember the question I'm posing. What is the and hey, if you don't have any, just let me know. But if you are in the optimism category, what is it that you're leaning on that instills said confidence within? Rave Kingdom, you are up, my friend. Talk to me. He keeps friggin', son of a... Rave continues to drop out the second I get ready to bring him on. Jesus. That brings us down to Mexico City. Lord knows how this guy's bye week was. He got his pinball machine stolen from him. He's got no clue where it is. And his job security is hanging on by a razor thin margin. Oh, wait a second. Let me cue up the 60 seconds. It's been a long time since I streamed. Okay. Manny, your 60 seconds starts now, my friend. Great to see you, brother. What's going on?
Hey, what's up?
Good to see you, dude.
How was the bye week? Resting.
Yeah.
Resting from all this drama, all this. I don't know how to call it. I think it's a waste of a season just because the amount of talent that we have and just not using it properly. Overthinking ourselves in simple solutions. And like I was discussing with Sutton, we overthink it. We should go back to basics. We're known for running the ball and for just blitzing with 5. And if that doesn't work, I think a change in leadership, a change in culture has to be on the order. But only Bashadi knows who to call. There's the name.
Appreciate you, brother. Make sure you got a little Gmail account or something you could throw in the notes just so Steve knows how to reach you, all right? Make sure he knows.
I'll let them know. I'm going to be there on Thursday night for Miami.
Okay.
So,
good for you for sticking it out, man. Good for you.
Yep.
All right, brother. Great to see you. Hope you enjoyed your bye. More to come on Banff and what we were up to over there, which did include a double date, I might add, but maybe that's neither here nor there. A Tinder double date, for the record. Taurus, Teal, you're right. And Teal, I'm sorry I missed your birthday last week. I saw that earlier on. Can you let a guy know? I need a little bit of advance notice. I probably would have canceled my bye week trip just to ensure that you got a 30-second or 60-second, or if Dre Dog gets what he wants, a 120-second time limit and a birthday wish. And I would have planned my entire bye week around that, but you just don't let a guy know. So that hurts. But yeah, Teal, thank you for letting me know that Taurus is on my neck, because he's one of those guys that I think you would think, given his pessimistic attitude that he's certainly leaned into in recent weeks, going from a Bobby lover to a Bobby hater, you would think that he would appreciate, and I refuse to actually use the pessimism, because I don't think that's the right label. I think is objectivism? That's not a word, is it? The realism. That's what I'm calling upon. That's what I'm leaning on. I'm trusting my eyes. I'm trusting the numbers. I'm trusting the tape. I'm trusting the record. As Kyle Hamilton said on one of his bye week interviews, your record is who you are. You are your record. And while the Ravens might go on a run, a historical run, it's not even if I'm a betting man. If I'm looking at this as a realist, I feel pretty confident that based on what I've seen, this is not a team that's capable of digging themselves out of a significantly deep hole that they now sit in and have sat in for weeks. So, Taurus, I'm surprised. One, I'm giving you oxygen at the moment without you even being a guest. And two, that you don't appreciate this realist, this inner realist. Because as far as I know, you like to put words in our mouth in terms of why we're Ravens apologists, we're a Harbaugh apologist, we're this, that, and the other. I'm giving you what you want, and now you're being wish-washy. What a shocker. Guest lines are open. Call in, big dog. Is Rave ever going to sit in the waiting room and wait for 30 seconds? Because I keep calling to him or teasing to him, and he's nowhere to be found. Okay, Taurus agrees with me. That's good. Thank God. What would I have done? Let's take a look at the Chicago injury report just for shits and giggles as this week gets underway. The first of 3 practices, of course, was underway earlier for both teams. And this is kind of a lengthy list for the Bears. DeAndre Swift, their talented running back, was a DNP with a groin. Tyreek Stevenson, defensive back, shoulder, DNP. DJ Moore, talented wide receiver, hip, DNP. Cole Kmet, back, DNP. As far as all these other names, I think we'll probably lean on our Bears reporter, who we're going to have on Friday, still finalizing who that is, rather than speculating. But I just wanted to throw up the Bears injury situation, should you care. And you probably should, because Ravens need a little bit of fortune. Shelly says, you keep talking, Bobby. They're tired of waiting. Yeah, when you talk for a living, you get a little long-winded, Shelly. Hey, Shelly, why is it that you're so active in the live chat, but you can't pull up that link that's just, it's like a carrot. It's right there. It's floating right in front of your face. Come on now. You and Tila. Let's go. Tank BX exec says that negative attitude is putting out negative energy, Mr. Bobby. Tank, come on now. There's nothing negative about this. Taurus, the waiting room is wide empty. It's totally empty right now. I feel like people are asleep post-bye. I don't know what the hell is going on. I don't know. Mike's finally coming to my defense. He says, y'all want Bobby to lie and coddle y'all? Okay, Rave has entered the studio. I repeat, Rave has entered the studio. My friend, your 60 seconds starts now. Talk to me.
Hello, Bobby. How you doing? Listen, this is I can't say too much because you kind of changed the subject on me, but the reason I feel like there's optimism a little bit is because the can be done. As long as they make those changes, things can be fixed. This stuff wasn't made up. We're not angry for no reason. I'm not just coming out of the nowhere of yelling or mad. This is a buildup, and we fans has been mad about it, and we asked for the correction to be done years ago. Let's go with Ben Cleveland, right? That we feel like, that's why I feel like the Ravens can make a change, because I know everybody keeps saying, well, he's just one guy, or everybody saying, oh, well, the reports, and everybody keeps saying that, he's just, he's not doing that. He's not. If Ben Cleveland is that bad, if he's that horrible, then
Go ahead, Rave. You can finish that thought.
what the fuck?
Come on, Rave. My man had his moment. I was going to give him like a 90-second thing because everybody's calling for 90 seconds, 90 seconds, 90 seconds, and then his internet fails him. What a darn shame. Adam, you ready to go? Guest lines are open. Let's run it up. Over 600 concurrents with me on this late afternoon on a Wednesday leading into week 8. It's Ravens, it's Bears, it's 1 o'clock on Sunday, and a must-win matchup. Adam, your 60 seconds starts now. Welcome to the program, man.
Hello. You probably recognize my name since I followed you and for about 4 years now. This is my first time live. My question is, I see DaCosta keeps bringing people in off the street like he did today, a DT, an outside linebacker, and a pass rusher. Why can't he grab anybody off of another franchise's practice squad that's ready to go instead of bringing these guys in off the street?
Well, what he needs to do is, and he's got to wait. Unfortunately, at this point, he's got to wait 8 days before he goes. Because I don't mean to like ignore your question, but what he needs to do is bring in a guy between now and the 4th of November. But you're not going to do that from a financially savvy standpoint. And I'm just going to take this down because we're going to have a conversation for a second. They're about to play 2 games in the next 8 days. Right? One on Sunday, one on Thursday, against 2 teams that on paper months ago were thought of as afterthoughts when it comes to wins. That's not the case at all at this point, obviously. At least for my money. Miami, we'll see. Miami's a dumpster fire right now. Chicago's a team with Ben Johnson and a developing quarterback and 2 talented wide receivers, a talented tight end, a good running game, and a defense that over this 4-game win streak has been wreaking havoc. I don't care about the degree. Here's the thing, and I'm going on a tangent right now, Adam. I don't care at this point about the degree of difficulty from a strength of schedule standpoint. That is out the window. That is not something that this team can hang their hat on at all. So if you're sitting out here and being like, Bobby, you can't be touting the Bears because of their degree of difficulty or lack thereof from a strength of schedule standpoint, I say to hell with that. Because this team, they haven't earned the right to be looked at as the standard or as an upper echelon AFC elite. And so in past years, I would have been absolutely receptive to that. Not anymore. Not anymore, because the Ravens are looked at, as Kyle Hamilton said earlier, paraphrasing, not putting words in his mouth, they're looked at as the get-right game. And we saw that leading into the Houston game. Anyway, to answer your question, Eric DeCosta finds himself in a difficult place right now because they're about to play 2 games, and their season is hanging in the balance. He can't go and make a move as a buyer.
No, I mean, I said off another franchise's practice squad. I'm not talking about trading for somebody.
No, I know, but that's not going to – no, I know. That's not the reason why I'm ignoring that. I don't mean to intentionally. Oh, okay. I don't mean to intentionally. That's not going to move any. That's not going to be needle moving.
All right.
They need a guy right now to rush the passer. They're not going to get that guy until they rip off these next 2 wins, because Eric DeCosta can't financially justify being a buyer unless they're mathematically in it. And if they don't go 2-0, because remember, yesterday marked 2 weeks out to the deadline. And so Eric has his back up against the wall right now. Until they go 2-0, he's stuck.
Okay.
Is he actually? No. But the way this organization, they are fiscally responsible, whatever you want to call it, that's the way they're going to work. And so until this team comes out and rips off 2 wins and keeps this season alive, he's not going to act upon it. So anyway, sorry, Adam. I don't know if that answered your question. I don't mean to downplay what a practice squad player can be, but we know they need a guy in here right now, and they need to be willing to part ways with some of the draft capital they have and maybe even a player in order to get said guy.
But we knew they'd never given up a first-round pick before, so that's probably not going to happen.
Yeah. Sorry to take it in a different direction, but that's where my mind took me when you went in there. So,
all right.
Thanks, man. Appreciate the call. Adam 70, and you're right. I do recognize your name, and you have been a long supporter of the show, so thank you. Appreciate you guys. So, but does that make sense, though? Am I making sense there? Like, they're 13 days out from the deadline, and they're going to have to give up either draft capital, a player, or both to go get a guy. And obviously, they have to have, most importantly, a willing trade partner on the other end. But if you're Eric, right now you're flirting with the idea of buying versus selling. And what's really being flirted with is the idea of an organizational reset that Steve Bisciotti may have to make a very difficult decision on, given his desire for stability, longevity, camaraderie, framework, you name it, structure, which is why he's had John Harbaugh for 18 years running. But you lose on Sunday. Am I confident that an organizational reset will come as a result? No, because I don't think you can ever be confident when it comes to how stable Steve Bisciotti likes to keep things. He doesn't want to rock the boat with change, and given his framework and the way that his leadership team and the stakeholders are built. But the more and more I think about it, if you lose to Chicago on Sunday, you're looking at 8 or 9 days out from the deadline, and you have players in-house that contending teams are going to want. People are going to want Mark Andrews. People are going to want Isaiah Likely. Now, Isaiah is your future tight end on paper, but Mark Andrews probably isn't at this point in his career, and he could help a team right now like Jacksonville, who just placed their tight end on injured reserve recently. And so that's truly, to me, that's what the Ravens are flirting with right now. An organizational reset. And to reiterate my final thought, to summarize this long-winded thought to Adam's question, Eric DeCosta can't responsibly be GM and make this team buyers if they don't win the next 2 games. Period. Rave, do you want to try this again now that you're inside? An additional 60 seconds for a grand total of 120. Thank you, Dre Dog. 120 begins right now for my friend Rave Kingdom, because I'm a nice guy and I love me some Rave. Rave, welcome back to the program.
I'm so sorry. Is everything working? Can y'all see me good?
Go ahead.
Is my skin glowing good? All right, we're making sure y'all can see me. Anyways, actually, Bobby, I'm here to agree with you on a lot of parts. You're being real. You're being honest. Why you're being honest? Because it's the same reason why I disagree with Femi. It's the same reason why I disagree with Settlement. I think it's very disingenuous. They disrespect us fans, and they always say, like, all this stuff, like we're just being emotional. We're not. They are about to throw Falala and Andrew Voorhees out there again. So, yes, there's optimism to your question, because if the changes happen, I think it could be fixed and it will happen. Our solution will be resolved. Yes, Ben Cleveland can make a change, because how can an offensive coordinator do any of the plays or any of his solutions when he can only run one side because he knows Falala can't block? So I'm sorry, I don't have much time. I'm just saying.
No. Fuck the timer for today.
Bet. No, we can talk.
Sorry for my language. My mom's in the other room. Excuse my language.
No, go ahead.
My mom's in the other room. She just gasped based on my language. I'm sorry.
Hey, sorry, Mama.
She also wants to go to dinner too. It actually wasn't my language. It was more so she wants to go to dinner. We're going to dinner tonight. It's our last night.
I respect.
I got to stop you on one thing.
Go ahead. Let's talk.
Rave, when Ben Cleveland potentially had a chance to start within the last couple of weeks, or there was some buzz around potential change because of the way that John Harbaugh handled questions related to potential change, what did Ben Cleveland do on the first day of practice that week?
He had a situation involved. The man was fine.
Not at practice.
Okay.
Rave, hold on a second, though. Hold on. Rave, he wasn't at practice on install day, and he hasn't started in a year. How can you sit here and tell me that I know that he's going to be better than Fa'alele, but how can you sit here and tell me that you think that's going to, and don't let me put words in your mouth, so you'll rebuttal in a second here, but how can you sit here and tell me that's going to yield different results?
Okay, so I always have this question with Ben Cleveland, because as we understand that I want to put him out there. I want to say, I kind of defend him. Okay, this is why I defend this man. Let me ask you a question. That's why I always love to ask people when they always go after Ben Cleveland. Let's go with the theory of he's not better than Falala. Let's go with the theory of he's going to practice, he ain't showing up, he ain't doing this, he ain't doing that. Let's all go with that theory. Now, I would love to ask everyone this. I would love their answers, including yours. Let's go with that theory. If Ben Cleveland is that bad, and we've seen what Falala did on that field, how is Ben Cleveland even on the team then? If Falala can say down, set, hut, and fall straight to the ground multiple times, and get put on his back multiple times every game? Oh, and by the way, please, I post content showing that he gets hurt on the ground every game. If he can do that, if we saw what Falala produces on that field, and you're telling me Ben Cleveland is worse than that, then what in the world is Ben Cleveland even doing on the team?
No, I'm asking you to consider the idea. I'm not refuting that.
Right.
I think Ben would be serviceable and maybe even at best
Right.
more than serviceable
Right.
at right guard, really at either guard. And he has center experience. Okay.
Right.
But hold on though. I want you to consider the idea that adding Ben Cleveland to this offensive line,
Yes,
coming up this weekend against what the hell is going on back there?
my dog. Little Ben Cleveland. Hey, I need you to chill. I'm talking.
Here's my issue with what I think you're saying here. I think you're more focused on by principle, right? Underperformance is what we've seen from Fa'alele, right? And at points, inexcusable underperformance to the point where it's put his quarterback in jeopardy from an availability standpoint. And now their season hangs in the balance as a result. I'm not here to deny any of that. But I think you're so much more focused on principle than it is, meaning principle in terms of, next man up would be Ben on paper. But I'm sitting here and telling you, like, there are so far greater issues than that one fix. Like, what does that fix ultimately aside from just principle?
Okay, so for one, we'll be here all night if we talk about all the fixes, because I can bring up why Zach Orr has to go, right? But let's talk about just Ben Cleveland. Ben Cleveland's natural position is right guard. Ask yourself in the preseason why he didn't get no snaps at them guard spots. He just got all them snaps at center. Preseason, they made him play tackle. They didn't let him play none of the guard spots. Why did they hide that information from us? We didn't see Ben Cleveland in practice. They showed Andrew Voorhees in practice. This is fact. It's not me making it up. We seen Andrew Voorhees taking reps in practice. Now here's the thing: a lot of people reported, Jeff Zeber, all of them, they reported that Ben Cleveland was taking reps, right? Not even BK, shout out BK, he exposed it. He said, if you remember, he said, hey, BK said, I would usually see for Andrew Voorhees and Ben Cleveland out there at the guard spot. And he would say this, hey, I don't see y'all on the field sometimes, and because I found why y'all switching up. But ask yourself, who's he talking to? Is he talking to Andrew Voorhees? Because we've seen him at practice on our videos. Ben Cleveland's right guard, his natural spot is right guard. At right guard, we have film, actual game film from professional people. All 22 films, what's his name? Huddle Up Films, Coach Evans. They all have film that Ben Cleveland is at least serviceable and quality at right guard spot. Put that man at right guard spot. Let him have a full throttle opportunity and watch what he does.
Gave you 500 seconds. We'll catch up soon, Rafe.
All right, no problem.
Later, man. Appreciate you. Ant, you ready to roll? All right, let's bring them on. 60 seconds. I got to get back to 60 seconds because we got a dinner reservation and it's time to go. All right, Ant, 60 seconds starts now. Talk to me. What is your reason, if there's any reason in your mind, for optimism at this point in the season?
Yeah, so I think most likely the best case scenario is for us to be
say that you cut off for a second. Say that again.
We're going to look back on this time period where we were talking about the whole taking the extracurriculars out of the locker room as a part in the win, basically. And it's we're gonna come back to physicality. We're gonna come back as the Ravens that we used to be. Obviously, the Ray Lewis and Ed Reed era that's gone and that's over with. That same style of hard-nosed football is not here, but we can get back to some semblance of it. It just takes some soul searching, and if this really if that soul searching really happened over the bye week. I believe we're going to be looking back on this time frame and saying, none of that stuff mattered. veterans just doing what they think was the most important thing to do, which is to lock in and to keep distracting.
Thanks for the call, dude. Safe travels out there on the roads. See, if we had 120 seconds, and maybe this is a reason to include 120 seconds, Dre Dog, moving forward, I would have followed up. I still don't know what why do you have confidence that the physicality will return? Like self-scouting gives you that confidence from over the bye? Why is it that self-scouting is the be-all end? They've had all year to self-scout. Now, granted, yeah, there's more time that's devoted and dedicated to doing so and looking ahead at future opponents like Miami coming up on a short week during the bye. But again, this is who they are. They are 1-5. We're about to finish up here. They're 1-5. Getting a lot of energy on the other side of my studio right now. Said we go an hour. You're not even dressed for dinner. Okay. It's time to go to dinner. Mom's last night in town. I think you guys know the point. Get the point. The point is, what do we have to believe that the physicality will all of a sudden, poof, show up on Sunday against Chicago? I'm still looking for that. The first prediction I've seen so far this week, KM3, 50-28 Bears. Ooh, boy. I'll give mine later on. Appreciate you guys. As always, the Discord community is free to join. There's over 1,000 members. It continues to grow. There's 24/7 chatter across the board, whether it be Ravens football, Orioles baseball, you name it. There's a link, again, that is free to join that right now is pinned in the comment section. So hop in there. Great way to interact with other Ravens fans and Baltimore sports fans across the board. So Sarah and I will be back with you tomorrow at 12 noon inside the vault. If you could hear, meantime, on the way out, like the video, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Thank you to Preston Automotive Group for the continued support. You can scan the QR code in the upper right-hand corner if you want to learn more, or just go to PrestonMotor.com. I'll catch up with you guys tomorrow. Appreciate you as always. Lots more to come before Week 8 arrives on Sunday at the